Mm. Shabbat Shalom and welcome once again. It's my pleasure to welcome you to a few moments of learning with our dear friend and teacher, Rabbi Hillel Silverman. Rabbi, tell us about this week's Torah portion, Nitzavim Vayelech.
Nitzavim Vayelech, the children of Israel are completing their voyage of 40 years in the wilderness. They're standing on the banks of the Jordan River, and Moses is speaking to them, and Moses renews the covenant of the Jewish people with God. And this portion is all read before Rosh Hashanah. As a matter of fact, it's compatible with Rosh Hashanah because on New Year's we are standing before God. And so the Sedra tomorrow begins, and I'll discuss 4 selections from this morning's Sedra. And the first one is standing before God. And Moses says, you are standing, O children of Israel, before God, Roshechem, your heads of your people, Shiftechem, your clans, your Ziknechem, your elders, Tapechem, your children, Mashechem, your wives, Kol Yisrael, standing before God. And the rabbis say that in this statement, you have the words, Kulchem, all of you. Why repeat all of you? He repeated tribes and elders and children and parents. Why all of the Kulchem? And they give the answer, Kulchem. When the Jewish people are truly called, are truly united, then they can become a people and establish a covenant with God. During the 40 years, of course, they were not completely united. There was Korach, Datam, Aviram, the golden calf, Aaron. But going into the Holy Land, Moses pleads with them to be kulam, to be united. Of course, in this country, we are not united. We are close to being united, but not united. We have many divisions, Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Reconstructionist, and Jews have different opinions about Israel. I know my own brother, Arthur, believes that the Jews in Israel are guilty of apartheid and of oppression, and he was against annexation of the West Bank. Israel also is far from being united, far from being a kulchem. You've had 4 elections in 2 years. You may have another election before you know it. There are 20% Orthodox in Israel, and they have a real problem because they don't want their sons and daughters to be drafted in the army, and they have allowance to be excused from service. And so there are many, many different divisions of people in Israel. We spoke last week about the Arab Emirates recognizing Israel and establishing relationships with them. And I mentioned that maybe 15 or more years ago, I was in Dubai, which was a remarkable country. I was probably only a Jew in Dubai, but was not had to change my American passport because my picture was in the passport with a visa from Israel. And I mentioned last week that Dubai was a very, very interesting city. The largest skyscraper in the world is in Dubai. There was indoor skiing in July in Dubai. Every resident of Dubai received a home and a stipend from the government. What I did not mention was that there were no Jews when I was there, but there were 1,000 or so Jews in Dubai today, and they're coming out of the closet. And they've had a rabbi, a 26-year-old young Jewish man, Chabad, from Brooklyn. So times are changing and things look good. Just yesterday, Israel was allowed to fly her planes over the territory of Saudi Arabia. So who knows? We're on the way to peace, to shalom. So that's the first section that I want to discuss of our Sedra this morning. And the second Sedra is You are standing here, God says, and I have this to say to you for those who are here and for those who are not here. Those who are here, those who are not here. And of course, this applies to those who are standing before Moses on the banks of the Jordan River, and those who are not here apply to those who would be born in the future. Levi Yitzchak, who is a rabbi in Bordeaux, interprets that passage this way: for those who are here in physical being, but their mind wanders, those are the ones who are not here. And so he talks about having in religious services enthusiasm, kavanah, but there are those who attend services physically, eno po, are not here. They're not there in their minds, not here. The Levi Yitzchak believes in sincerity and commitment and conviction. May the words of our mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable unto thee. So many Jews in Yom Kippur past would flock to the synagogue and would be sitting there physically, but in their minds, they were wandering. They were sitting there and thinking of what they were going to serve for the break of fast, thinking of the World Series, thinking of vacation, thinking of going on a boat. And so you have those who are here and those who are not here. And Levi Yitzchak says those who are not here refers to those who are sitting there whose mind was wandering during this. That's an interesting interpretation. A third passage, Moses says to them, I am here to make sure that you follow God's command and the mitzvah, and the command is not too hard for you. It's not far off. It's not in the heavens that you have to go up and retreat it, the Jewish teachings, the mitzvot. That's not overseas. You don't have to cross the seas in order to get it. We have a religion that is this worldly. Judaism makes sense. Judaism is understood. Judaism does not entail unreal commitment, esoteric mysteries, ecclesiastical hierarchy. Judaism is down to earth, and we come close to God through noble living by following his mitzvot in the Torah. It's a very democratic religion to earth, not up into heaven, not over the seas. We encourage lay participation. The synagogue is democratic. You can be a leader of service. You can read the Torah if you are able to do it. A rabbi is a teacher in Judaism, not a mediator, not a priest hearing confession. The home, according to our religion, is our temple. Table is our altar. The father is the high priest. He conducts the Seder and the Sabbath. Mother is the high priestess. We have a religion that we can understand and a religion that is down to earth. And finally, we read tomorrow that God will give us a blessing or a curse, a klala or a bracha. Now, we read a similar passage 4 weeks ago in the Sedra of Re'eh, but today the Bible adds, I will give you a choice between a blessing and a curse, between life and death, meaning a blessing is life and a curse is death. Uvacharta v'chayim, and you shall choose life. And then it adds laman tichya, which seems to be redundant. And you shall choose life that you may live. If you choose life, how are you not going to live? And the rabbis answer, some merely exist. They don't choose life and live. They just exist. The year then becomes a living death. Some people just exist. They exist for food. They exist for pleasure, for luxuries, for conveniences. Add life to your years. This is what Judaism advocates. How do we add life to our years? by serving our fellow man, by being generous and kind and giving. And that's the way we choose the blessing of life. We are on the threshold of a new year. Let us all choose life and choose a blessing. May this young new year bring to each of us and our dear ones life and health and security. May we find an end finally to this terrible epidemic. May a vaccine be discovered. May we return to our homes in peace and security, and our children return to their schools, and our husbands to their businesses, and we to our offices. And may we enjoy the pleasure of restaurants and theaters. And may it be a year of blessing and life for all of us. And let us say Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. Of course, next week is Yontif, so we won't be on. So I want to wish you and your family a very sweet and happy Yontif, a Shana Tova, and a good year of health and strength, and we should be together soon. Thank you so much.
Same to you. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.